Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Monday morning trading room, or welcome back to our Monday morning trading room. I was laid up there for a while with a back injury, and I am feeling better. Thank you very much, everyone, for your well wishes. It was really nice to get that. Okay. Last week, here we'll just do a little bit of an overview so we can kind of get a feel where we're at. You can see most of last week, this is the daily NASDAQ chart. Most of last week, very, very sideways, except for Friday's session, which kind of fell off the map. Not a real surprise. We noticed early on that the market was struggling with this whole 74, 7,500 region. And right now, I would say we've got a little bit more bearishness going on in the market. We'll see how things play out, though. I do my best not to come into the marketplace with some sort of bias. Rather, I try to trade what's on the chart. Okay, then. I see a couple new names in the room here this morning. Welcome. Let me give you a quick overview of what we're looking at. Here in the top left, I have part of the diversified trading system. I have the Hawk Micro Scalper. Top right is the Falcon Swing Trader. Bottom left is the Eagle Trend Trader. And then here on the bottom right, we have the Raptor. The markets I'm watching here are the NASDAQ. And I've also got the Russell and the E-mini going on my other monitor. But if there's something you would like to see, or if you have any questions, please let me know. Especially on the question front. Yeah, Floyd says the Russell had a nice pre-market rally. It certainly did. Here about an hour and a half before the market opened. Actually this would be a number 2 signal. Even though it didn't print as a number 2, it still had all the qualifications. Namely, we have something resembling a trend, and then we have the test of the extreme, or the market showing us that it can no longer continue lower. Printed a buy signal. Target would have been right here, the hard edge of the trading band, but you can see it actually went much further than that. The Russell, a good market, a little bit more subdued than the NASDAQ, which is my personal favorite. Okay, we're only, like I say, a couple minutes into the session here, but already it's looking like we're getting some bearishness going on. I'm not usually a fan of these early signals, but I don't know, I may try to throw an order in here, just see. We're going to get an early cloud crossover here on the Raptor. Okay, and now we got the complete number 1 signal. Let's see if we get a second push opportunity on that. The second push simply means we allow the signal to engage. Oops, and now they're going to run away on me. We allow the signal to engage. We see where the signal reacts, and then we use that as our entry. Oh, look at that. They're just, I'm a little bit slow here. Okay, it may be one of these situations where I'm going to rely on one of these secondary signals. Oh, look at that. And now I'm out of reach. Shoot. Okay. Getting a little bit of a reaction there. I can risk it back to the hard edge. That's as far as I can afford it. Again, I'm not a fan of these early signals, but the market does seem to have some momentum to it. And so I will try to take an order. Okay, and because it's early, I'm going to try to stretch this trade out a little bit. So you can see we're hesitating a little bit. As we get toward the primary support, not really there yet. Oh dear, are they going to remind me why I don't take early signals? Come on, give me that swing, you stinkers. The market coming back now to the hard edge of the trading band, and that of course is where we anticipate a reaction. So we've hit that first hard edge. This essentially a number 3 signal now. Here, what I'm going to do is we'll eliminate that so that we can see the screen a little better. Things a little bit light here this Monday morning, although we did get a decent move out of the open. Okay, here we go. So it looks like they're going to try to resume this downtrend, and I will throw my break even a little bit closer here to the primary support line as I'm trying to run this out a little bit. And you know what? I'll take the ATR. Maybe give them a little bit of extra wiggle room. Slight reaction as we approach the primary support line. Oh, come on now. Play nice. Okay, well, that's all right. Tag me out on the little bit of a hiccup there. Not bad for an early trade. They had me they had me worried there for a moment. They had me worried they weren't going to follow through. Hey, way to go, Mickey. Mickey up $210 this morning on the NASDAQ. Well done. It is looking as though the trend is down. At least to start the day. The Falcon getting slightly more bullish now. We've got a little bit of green creeping into the trend line. Falcon actually produced, or pardon me, the Raptor producing a counter trend signal of all things. I'm not sure I'd want to get too aggressive on the counter trend just yet. Are we quarter to the hour? No, we're only 10 minutes in. I was concerned because quarter to the hour is always my least favorite time of the day to trade. Seems the market always gives me some sort of crazy signal at that time. All right, getting a little follow through here now on the short side. Oh, actually, I did have a decent opportunity here. I overlooked on the hawk. We had another first micro macro cross. Usually these just begin at a new trend and then you don't see them again. But here we have the market falling out of sync. So trend lines are out of sync, bar colors are out of sync, filter is out of sync, and then we come back into sync. That's a first micro macro cross signal. The first signal where everything is back in sync. That tends to be a pretty high probability signal for the most part. Okay, and things falling off quite nicely there now. Wow, look at that. What a shame I got tagged here on my little hiccup. I did get a follow-up signal, however. This signal right here that printed, this would be one of your, what we refer to as a discretionary signal. Technically, it did not get high enough to become a number 3 signal. A number 3 signal would have actually intersected the hard edge and then come out and produced a sell signal. That would have been your number 3 signal, your hard edge bounce. But wow, look at that follow through there. The Geiger counter has since turned neutral, but you can see we had quite a block of selling come through here as the Geiger counter was turning red just as this move was beginning. So something to keep a lookout for when you're using your Geiger counter. Now that needle should be turning red soon. Oh, see, there you go. Got yourself another confirmation of the bearishness in the market, or the potential bearishness. So if you wanted to take, say, one of these discretionary signals right here, let's just do that to see how that works. So we're looking now for one of these discretionary signals using the Geiger counter to follow up on that. I'm going to have to just pop in somewhere because I'm not going to be able to afford to risk it even here to the hard edge. So there it is. There's the discretionary signal. Let's see if it continues lower. The market, the needle's since gone neutral. If it turns green, of course, well, there we go. We're going to scrub the trade now because we've kind of lost our bearishness. So that's one way that you can use the Geiger counter as well, just to kind of confirm what's going on in the marketplace. Try to keep yourself on the right side of the market. If you were inclined on that number 2 signal, perhaps for a little bit of a scalp, this a very, very early number 2. It did not print as a number 2 because we did not see a real retest. The number 2 signal, you need to be pretty selective on, and you know, following perhaps a follow-up tool like the Geiger counter would be very helpful. But the number 2 signal, counter trend signal, so of course you need to have something resembling a trend before you can have a counter trend. Then once again, you're going to have that retest and the failure of the trend to continue. That's going to produce a number 2 signal. First target for the number 2 signal is the hard edge of the trading band. Okay, so here now we're getting a follow-up signal on a couple of number 3s. And you can see we've come down here actually to what was the intended profit objective for the move, which was the next support and resistance line underneath the primary support. So we're seeing a little bit of a hesitation there now. Oh, and here we come back with another number 2 signal. So let's see if we get some clues here, which way the market may be leaning. Right now you can see we're still a little bit more on the neutral. Yeah, no problem. Ray's asking, what are your signal parameters for the soft edge on the Raptor? So let's take a look at that now. So you go to your Raptor 2.0, and mine are 1.01. I went back to the defaults. A lot of times I found that 1.25 seemed to work well for most markets. So the higher this number, the less sensitive you make the indicator and the more signals you will produce. That's how that works. The lower that number, and I don't recommend you go below 1, but it is an option. The lower that number, the fewer signals you will produce. And then the minimum bar setup below is the exact opposite. The higher that number, the more selective. The lower that number, the less selective. All right, so we had a number 2 signal here. We're struggling a little bit. Didn't quite get to the hard edge as a target, but we're working on it. We're working on it. Might see a little bit of a reverse here still. No denying the trend is down. So I would say when in doubt, short. Getting a little bit more bullish again here. The Hawk introducing a lot of yellow bars. The Falcon started to look like a roller coaster. And now here with the Raptor once again, and the Geiger counter, you can see we've got ourselves a green needle. This would be a very, very long, drawn-out number 2 signal. I'm not going to take it. I'm just pointing it out to you. It doesn't meet the programming requirements because these tests of the low are too far away from the current low. But visually, it's still there, right? So visually, this would be a number 2 signal. That's why it's important to recognize the signals apart from their prompts. Their prompts are there to help you, but it's also useful to be able to see them. All right, the target for the move, again, the hard edge. So we would be looking somewhere around 72.39, perhaps 72.40. Come on, get going. There we go. All right, so we've hit the hard edge. We've completed that move. And getting a little bit more bullishness now again. Let's see what other signals we may have developing. I bet the Falcon, oh yeah, the Falcon did give us a quick little trend change signal. Here's the Hawk again with the first micro macro cross higher. And we're getting some bullishness in the Eagle again, but not so much because we're back into the hard edge. And whenever we encounter the hard edge, we always anticipate some sort of reaction. Lots of choppiness going on. If we're getting something resembling a bottom, bottoms always get a little bit sideways, a little bit broad, but again, the hard edge, you expect a reaction, you expect the trend to continue. And it looks as though that's going to be the case here now. As we get a little bit more follow through now to the short side. So, you know, when you're in doubt, stick with the trend. When all else fails, stay with the trend. Counter trend signals are always the ones that are going to end up costing you. All right. We actually ended up moving a couple of zones, it looks like, here on our support and resistance suite. Oh no, sorry, we're still at the first one. I thought with that other sell-off, we drifted down to the next line, but not yet. Nice little late filter entry signal here on the Falcon. These tend to be pretty reliable signals. The trend line a little bit steeper here than we normally like to see. Usually we like to see the trend line a little bit flat, but we've got ourselves here a filter that goes out of sync and comes back into sync. Very important, has to come back into sync. But the trend line itself never changes color. And then of course we produce the signal to sell. Okay, it looks as though we're getting some support coming back into the market now, and perhaps a little bit more of a bullish push to be expected. Doggone it, I was going to take this quick little trend change signal here on the Falcon. Maybe they'll give me a second push. No, there they go. Come on, play nice. Where's that reaction? I know there's going to be one. No, too late. So why am I thinking about maybe doing a buy at this point? Well, you can see we had this huge move lower with very little interruption. There was a little hiccup there, a little hiccup here. We got a big hiccup here. And this was all the follow through we got. So it's starting to look as though maybe the buyers are going to step up here a little bit. That's why I thought maybe we would try a buy signal. Now we're getting a late filter entry here to the long side, and there's the signal right there. I'm just going to buy in with it now because, well, I'm a little bit late to the party. Throw my stop here below that swing low. The only good thing about a counter trend signal is that you have a pretty good idea when you're wrong about the trade, namely that the market resumes the current trend. So once again here, the late filter entry signal occurs, the trend line goes out of sync, pardon me, the filter goes out of sync, comes back into sync, the trend line itself never changes color. And that's what makes that a late filter entry signal. Like I said, I just popped in with the buy button. But you could have also set up manually. Stops do need to go this deep though, because you can see the market's going to try to retest the lows before it has any chance of changing direction. So this is pure counter trend. This is full on risky trade. Let's see if we're getting any support anywhere else. No, not right now. It's still looking very bearish. I may well have put myself on the wrong side of this market. And as I mentioned before, that's part of the problem with doing counter trend trades is you block yourself from taking with trend trades. So it's best avoided if you can. All right, back to the action here now. Let's see if that signal is going to give me a chance. The next push higher, I'm going to start rolling my stops. Come on, give me a couple of bars. No, not out of the woods yet. Not by a long shot. If we can get above here, what's the high of this bar? So 72.24 3/4, 72.25. There we go. All right, I will roll my stops in a little bit here, take some of the risk out. Note I'm not placing my stop like one tick below that swing. The reason is very often the market will breach an obvious swing point by a tick or two. So I try to give it a little bit extra. Oh, perhaps the only thing worse than a losing trade is a winning trade that you got stopped out early on, because your stop was a couple of ticks too tight. All right, hit the break even and hooray, finally got to the profit target. That took a little bit of work. Produced another late filter entry signal right here, so that was encouraging for the bullish move. And it looks like we did get some follow through there. So hooray for us. Not a bad day so far. Lots of opportunities. As we once again see a little bit of a reaction coming back into the market. All right, so a little bit of a convoluted mess now, and that kind of confirms that maybe the trend is trying to change, maybe. So here on the Hawk, we were already bullish after coming out of this short-term choppy phase. Now we're producing a red bar buy. So that, again, making me think maybe there's going to be a bit of a bull push here. The Falcon also with a bit of a drawn out bottom here, a couple of trend change signals. We do have that red trend line again, so it's not entirely clear. The eagle here, the trading band has turned over after a bit of a drawn out rule of three signal, the rule of three tending to develop near the end of the trend. So we have a trend. Again, we have the all-important test of the extreme, and we've produced 1, 2, 3 counter trend signals. So the eagle also starting to look a little bit more bullish at this point. And then the raptor, well, a little bit of a mess up here with the raptor. There we go. We got a number 3 signal now. So the raptor trying to get a little bit more bullish. We're just past opening range. Again, you pretty much have to risk the trade way down here. Let's see if we get some follow through. Come on. Come on, give me that break even. There we go. Got the break even and gonna kiss the profit target. I'll make Scott happy. We'll go break even +2. Thanks, Floyd. Floyd says he's watching his 30-second ADX, average directional index. And he says it's only at 14 right now. Nothing will happen until it gets to 20. So that's kind of Floyd's watching for a little bit more momentum coming into the marketplace. We did sneak enough ticks out of there to get to the profit target, which is nice. Another hard edge bounce, a little bit drawn out. So this number 3 signal actually based on this bar right here. And we do have, again, a second push opportunity. Once again, the second push simply means I allow the signal to engage. I see where the market reacts, and then I use that bar as my signal bar. Right? So this bar now would be my signal bar. I'm not going to take this one, but we'll just kind of demonstrate it. Okay, we're losing some momentum. Actually, my stops should be 2 swings back. So there's swing 1, here's swing 2. My stop should actually be down here. I tend to avoid signals that start printing too frequently as well, because what happens is you're going to get signals cropping up in sideways ranges. Right? So I try to look for a good reason to take a signal, and very often I will prefer an early signal to a later signal. And there we go. We managed to squeak out enough to find our profit target on that one as well. Hooray! Okay. Yeah, good day. Good day so far. All right, the hawk here with a very nice first micro macro cross. At the same time we were doing our Raptor trade, the Falcon also producing a trend change signal, and the Eagle coming through with a nice little trend change signal on its own. After that rule of 3, after that counter trend signal, we would be looking for a trend change signal, and that's what we got right there. And I do believe that one hit its profit objective also. So we're almost shooting fish in a barrel here this morning. Things getting um, very bullish, or bearish then bullish. So we got the market going both ways on us right now. All right, still kind of sideways. Sideways to down. That little bit of an uptrend we've been watching seems to have been short-lived. All right, you can see we're kind of neutral again, just kind of retracing the same numbers, not really going anywhere. Oh, Mickey knocking it out of the park today. Mickey says, I've taken 5 NASDAQ trades, all winners, up $625. Well done. Yeah, I think I agree here with Floyd's comment. Floyd says, today is trendy, so tomorrow will be choppy. The market does have a tendency to do that, doesn't it? We'll get, if you get a trending day, it used to be we would see the market trend for at least a couple of days before we hit a bit of a choppy streak. But now it seems more that if we get a trending day, I would agree with Floyd's comment. The next day is probably going to be a little bit choppier. But we'll see. Like I said, I try not to bring a bias into the market if I can help it. Okay, a crossover buy. So we're getting a number one signal. It's hard to tell whether this number one signal is just a continuation of the uptrend or whether we're going to see a bigger move lower still. After all, look at where the market has fallen from this morning. Pretty much off of the opening buzzer. Okay, I'm a little bit late on that number one signal, but stops if you set it up. So there's the entry, there's the signal right there. Stops should at least go below this swing right here, at least initially. Give yourself a chance to manage this trade. If your stops are overly tight, as most people, because they're so afraid to lose money, they'll throw their stops right here, in which case you can see you would have been stopped out, or even right here, which again, just a little bit too tight. Doesn't give the market a whole lot of wiggle room. But we're fairly neutral right now, so I may just let them be for a moment. Well, the bullishness has not gone away, has it? We followed up with that number one signal with a number three signal. Kind of dragging our feet a little. Okay, now we're actually producing a soft edge sell. Now, this is one of these situations where you have to ask yourself, is this, technically it's a counter trend signal, but is it with trend? Is the bigger trend, the trend we saw out of the open, going to be the more dominant, or is the shorter term trend going to prevail? If we get a second push opportunity here, we could actually bracket the trade. We could use our OCO order. We could buy a break above. Okay, and now we can sell a break below, and these orders are live, so I tend to place them away and then bring them into where I want them to be. And again, you don't want them really, really tight. You don't want them right there. You want them a few ticks away in case the market breaches by a tick or two. You don't want to be brought in prematurely. But we do have ourselves a fairly balanced market at this point, so it's a little bit up in the air which way it may be leaning. All right, another number 2 signal. So we have our 2-3-2 combination. I'll get a stop in play here, which I should have had ready. And maybe I'll go now with the parabolic. You can see we've hit the break even. Oh, don't flinch yet. Ah, darn it. All right. Might have got tagged a little bit early on that one. Oh, and I did too. Doggone it. You can see we're doing a pretty decent retest here of this whole support zone around 72, 23, 24, 25. It's kind of that whole little region. Very sideways at this point. And that's kind of to be expected too, you know, after a market has had a prolonged trend one way or the other. In this case, I would say the prolonged trend has been down. It's not at all unusual to see the market establish a bit of a sideways trading range. May not go much lower from here today, but the sideways trading is not a real surprise. If we wanted, we've got ourselves here another trend change signal on the Falcon right there, a little trend change signal. Oh, some decent follow through on that now. The trend change signal here on the Falcon. Just a little bit of a review. We've got the trend line changing color. So we're going from red to green. Here's the move that changes the trend line color. Here's the move that tries to resume the trend, and then here's the move along with the signal that tells us the market's likely to take off in the other direction. May not be a full trend change, but the objective, our profit target, should be hit. Stops ideally down here to start. And you can see they didn't have to work too hard to get to the high probability profit target. I'm wondering here because the eagle is really constipated. We're really stuck now, and I would say this is our sideways trading range, something like that. If this trading range is going to establish itself as a trading range, we'll probably see sellers up there and buyers down here in the middle being fairly neutral overall. More of the back and forth. Okay, so we're back now into the hard edge here on the Raptor, back in the hard edge on the Eagle. The Hawk and the Falcon both a little bit more bearish, however. If we come out of here with a buy signal, I wonder if they're going to try to rally it up. That would be our number one signal, our cloud crossover signal. As the cloud's now gone from a bearish to a bullish, there's the number one signal. I'm just going to buy into this one. Stops again should go at least a couple of swings back. We'll see if we get any kind of follow through here now. Come on, get up there a little bit. trying to be patient here, but they're being a little reluctant. Oh dear. They're moving back on me here a little bit. Not what I was hoping to see. So let's see, do I have enough room there? Well, yeah. We should see some buying come in as the market gets closer here to the 72.28 zone. No, it was too choppy. Doggone it. You know, you got to take the overall market context into account when you're looking at a trade as well. So when you look at your chart like this and it's just too much sideways, you're really best just avoiding it altogether. And that's what we got right now, kind of a overall sideways market. And I'm probably going to end up getting tagged out here in a minute, which will be unfortunate. Yeah, there we go. All right, my bad on that one. I should have paid more attention to the overall market context. Oh, don't tell me they're just going to tag me out and then head the other way. Oh, add some insult to injury, why don't you? No? Okay. Well, it makes me feel a little bit better that at least, um, the market didn't reverse and end up going higher. At least it's heading lower. Okay, so here we go again, just kind of bouncing around a little bit. Or are they going to get more bullish? I think I was right in my earlier assumption that we've established a bit of a sideways trading range here. And it does look as though we've got buyers coming in here, sellers kind of the top quarter, top third. We're a little more than an hour into the session this morning. So they may be settling in at this point. Got a hard edge bounce here on the Eagle with a green bar sell. The Raptor's still a little conflicted. There we go. We're actually producing, look at that, a #1 signal now on the Raptor. It's a little bit of a messed up #1, but it is still a #1 signal. You could do your second push entry. All right, this may be my last attempt here today. The market didn't really want to head any higher, so it may try to head lower, try to resume that bigger trend that we had going on earlier. Didn't look like they slipped me. No slippage. We'll see if we get any kind of bearish follow through from this. They're thinking about it. Of course, this whole 72, 24, 25 region, as we saw on the Hawk, or pardon me, on the Eagle, uh, thick with buying, right? We're playing down around these numbers right here. If it breaches, if it breaks below here, there could be some substantial follow through because we're going to catch a lot of buyers on the wrong side of the trade, and that could lead to a big move lower. Mickey's asking, Eric, how do I turn on my break-even marker? Okay, Mickey, what you need to do is you need to go to your strategies window, highlight your trade manager. If your trade manager is already displayed, you're going to need to turn it off and click apply. Make sure you're not in a trade when you do this, by the way. Then go to the very top and your auto break even parameters. So this is your on off button. Yours is going to say false, put it to true, and then you're going to enter your break even trigger. Now, I'm of the reasoning that the break even trigger should be about 3/4, 75 to 80% of your target. So if you're running, say, $100 target, that would be 20 ticks in the NASDAQ. So you would be running anywhere from 15 to maybe 18 ticks. This is the Eagle. I have a bigger target, that's why it's set at 30. And then you have your break-even offset. This is how much profit you want to protect once the break-even is hit. So obviously you can set it at 0. By default, it is set at 1 tick. The idea is that you at least cover your commissions. Scott's a big one for covering at 2 ticks, but you can protect as much as you want. Once you've made those changes, you come back down here to your enabled tab. That's your on-off button. Turn it back on, so you go to true. Remember to click apply, and now you will have your auto break even working next time you set up a trade and the trade goes live. If you are in a trade and you want to set a break even, you can right click on your chart and you can select here break even. And then once that goes live, you can roll the break-even trigger wherever you want. As you can see, I can't do it currently because there is no active position. All right, still struggling with this trade here. Market's still flip-flopping a little bit, but we are getting a little bit, maybe a little long in the tooth for the NASDAQ after that quick little move lower this morning. Let's just take a look at the daily again. So the daily kind of confirming Friday's bearishness, spilling over here into Monday. Move back here looks to my eye somewhere around 7,100 may not be unreasonable. So we might see that level hit over the next few days, perhaps. You know, this just goes to show you again how important it is to take the overall context of the market into consideration. We've been in this sideways mess since about 7 o'clock. That's Pacific time, 10 o'clock Eastern. So almost the last hour, the better part of the last hour anyway. And note how difficult it is to get a trade off or profitable. Actually, we've been definitely in a sideways mess for an hour. So it looks like around 6:45 it stopped trending. But how easy it was to trade when the market was trending. Like what a difference. What a difference that makes. So like I said, it just goes back to the whole thing about how important it is to not ignore the left side of the chart, take the whole context into consideration. The market seems very content to be retracing the same numbers here, kind of ranging between 72.25 and 72.50-ish. And the longer they spend going sideways like this, I think the more likely it is that they're going to start breaching swing highs and lows, just do a little stop hunting. It looks to me that like that's what they're doing now. See, here was this last swing right here. They broke it enough to engage a lot of buy orders, traders that were looking to buy a breakout, and now they're heading lower. They'll do the same thing here to the short side, probably first this swing here, but they may give this swing a go. They may actually try to breach this one and then reverse. So I may bring my break even up a little bit on the off chance that the market will continue lower there. Like I said, the overall trend is down, so when in doubt, sell. Yeah, look at how dead neutral they are here. So an attempt to encourage some selling here, breaking that support. It wasn't a major one, which makes me think they may try to get down here actually. If they're hunting for stops, they may try to run this zone right here. That's my hope. And one of two things will happen. They'll either run the stops and turn the market higher again, or it may actually encourage more selling, in which case there's an opportunity to hit my profit target, and that would be is that the second? No, we're still here at that first support zone. Wow, what a strong support level at 72.21. All right, we're seeing a little bit of buying. You saw how the market rallied there just for a moment. Okay, got the trade down to break even, and now they're trying to run the stops here, and oh, we're actually getting some follow through. I'm going to squeeze this trade now. There we go. Hit the profit target. Hooray! Whew, that was a lot of work. All right, well, I think that's probably going to be the last trade for me today. And are we going to get some follow through from that? Maybe. Yeah, looks like, oh no, looks like we're getting a little bit of a hiccup. All right, gang, we're going to button up shop here in a moment. If you are going to continue trading today, we've got, like I said, this great big sideways mess going on. It's going to be tough doing anything so long as the market stays within this range. So do be careful. As it gets toward the bottom end of the range, we're going to see more buying. And as it gets toward the top end, again, we're going to see more selling. All right, that's it for me. Not a bad day overall. Nice way to come back to trading anyway. And I will see you again tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.